All right, guys. So the time has come. Zani's official kit is officially released. Now, I did make a video saying why I feel like this character is extremely restrictive, and I had a lot of Kuro bots coming in my comment section just spouting a lot of misinformation saying that she can inflict spectral frazzle. Let's just wait for her official kit to, see how she is. It's finally here. Okay? It's finally here. Let's see what's happening, all right? So we come over here, profile reveals Scorch Radiant Zani. Okay, so here's what we got. Of course, Spectro, Gauntlet, we already know about that. So when it comes to normal attack, basic attack, perform up to 4 consecutive attacks to deal spectral damage. After performing basic attack stage 3, press normal attack at the right time to perform basic attack breakthrough, which can be followed by basic attack stage 4 by pressing normal attack again. For heavy attack, consume stamina to attack the target, dealing spectral damage. Press normal attack within a certain time to perform basic attack stage 3. For mid-air attack, it says consume stamina to perform a plunging attack, dealing spectral damage. Press normal attack within a certain time to perform basic attack stage 3. Dodge counter, it says press normal attack within a certain time after a successful dodge to attack the target, dealing spectral damage. Then press normal attack at the right time to cast basic attack breakthrough. So as you guys can see, no sign of her inflicting spectral frazzle stacks on the enemy with her basic attack, heavy attack, mid-air attack, and her dodge counter. So we go ahead and move on to her resonant skill. Restless Watch. Standard defense protocol. Attack the target to deal spectral damage and enter a block stance. This stance ends early if Zani is switched off the field. Press normal attack within a certain time to perform basic attack stage 3, recovering 10 points of redundant energy and stagnating the target on hit. When attacked by the enemy in the block stance, reduce this instance of damage by 100% and stagnate nearby targets. Then cast resonant skill Pinpoint Strike, dealing spectral damage and additionally reducing their vibration strength by 5%. The damage taken by Zani is reduced by 30% within the next 2 seconds. So you guys can see that she's like a kind of like a tanky unit, which is honestly pretty good considering her playstyle. The fact that she has a shield, the fact that she has like that tanky playstyle is honestly very cool. But once again, guys, as you guys can see, there is not a single sign of her inflicting spectral frazzle stacks. So you guys can see this is what it looks like over here. And then when the enemy attacks her, it's like a counter attack, which looks pretty cool. Now, when it comes to vibration strength, is this like her reducing an enemy's like defense? Maybe, I have no idea. But we're gonna continue. Crisis response protocol. When Zani is not in inferno mode and has full redundant energy, her resonant skill is replaced with resonant skill crisis response protocol. Hold resonant skill to enter ready stance. While in ready stance, Zani is immune to interruption. This state ends early if Zani is switched off the field. After releasing resonant skill button or when its stance duration ends, consumes all redundant energy to cast targeted action, dealing spectral damage, which is also considered spectral frazzle damage. So once again, guys, she's not inflicting spectral frazzle stacks, but she is dealing spectral frazzle damage. Okay? When attacked by the enemy in ready stance, reduce this instance of damage by 100% and consume all redundant energy to cast forcible repose tea? Is that what it's called? I don't know. Dealing spectral damage. Also considered spectral frazzle damage. So once again, for all the Kuro bots who had no idea what the hell they were talking about, she literally deals spectral frazzle damage. That's why it's very important for her to be paired up with an ally that can amplify spectral frazzle damage. So let's go on and continue. Stagnating the target and further reducing their vibration strength by 5%, damage taken by Zani is reduced by 30% within the next 2 seconds. Casting targeted action or forcible reposity, I don't know how to say that, sends Zani into sunburst mode and inflicts a stack of helical ember upon the target on hit. The last stage of the target recovers blaze. So this is not a spectral frazzle stack, guys. If it was spectral frazzle, they would have said that is not spectral frazzle. But the helical ember, this is probably for her Forte circuit. But let's go ahead and continue. And it says for sunburst, the spectral frazzle damage dealt by Zani to the target is amplified by 20%. This is probably like her inherent skill, I think. Yeah, that's probably her inherent skill. I don't know. But no sign of her inflicting spectral frazzle stacks. So now we move on to her resonance liberation. This is like the most important part about her kit. So it says rekindle, deal spectral damage and enter inferno mode, increasing the max blaze from 100 to 150 and granting 50 blazes. When in inferno mode, the multiplier of basic attack is increased. The last stand, when in inferno mode, resonance liberation, the last stand becomes available when blaze is lower than 30 or after 8 seconds in inferno mode. Casting resonance liberation, the last stand deals spectral damage and ends the inferno mode. So you guys, this is what it looks like over here. So that's her ultimate, right? That's her ultimate right there. It's like this form that she goes in, and when she does that, she goes back to normal. All right, so it's going to continue. Now, when it comes to her Forte circuit, so this is what I was talking about when it comes to her unique mechanic. All right, guys, so pay attention. When Zani is in the team and the nearby resonator inflicts spectral frazzle upon a target. Let me read that one more time for the people who can't even who can't read, who can't comprehend what I'm talking about. When Zani is in the team and a nearby resonator inflicts spectral frazzle upon a target, immediately consume all spectral frazzle stacks and trigger the corresponding damage. Then convert spectral frazzle into an equal number of helical embers. Every time the conversion happens, Zani obtains blaze based on the stacks of helical ember inflicted. Helical ember is capped at 60 stacks, with each stack lasting for 6 seconds. Helical ember stacks are counted toward the spectral frazzle stacks for the Eternal Radiant Sonata effect. So it seems like, you know, if you're not going to put her in the spectral frazzle team, it's going to take her a really long time to build up. It's going to take her a long time to actually build this up, to build up her Forte circuit helical ember. It's going to take her a long time to build up the stacks. So that's why putting her with characters that can actually inflict spectral frazzle, you can build it up a lot faster, so she can consume all the stacks, and she's pretty much going to trigger all corresponding damage. And then she's going to convert spectral frazzle into an equal number of helical embers. So, you know, putting her with characters like Phoebe, for example, really, really good. Putting her with characters like Spectral Rover, going to be very nice. But once again, so only 2 characters, right? And when it comes to Spectral Rover, he's not really amplifying her spectral frazzle damage. He's just giving her the stacks so that she can actually use her Forte circuit properly, and that's pretty much it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's pretty much a helical ember. Now we continue to Scorching Light. When Zani is in Inferno mode, a Heavy Slash, Daybreak, Heavy Slash, Dawning, Heavy Slash, Nightfall, and Heavy Slash, Light Smash become available, which deals spectral damage that is considered both heavy attack damage and spectral frazzle damage. Now, I will say the heavy attack damage might be really nice because you can pair it up with Mortefi. That can be pretty good. But once again, if you're going to use her with Mortefi, you're going to have to use her with Spectral Rover so that you can actually build up the helical ember stacks a lot faster. So yeah, that's pretty nice right there. When Blaze is no less than 30, Resonant Skill Standard Defense Protocol is replaced with Resonant Skill Scorching Light. Hold Resonant Skill to enter ready stance, during which Zani is immune to interruption. This state ends early when Zani is switched off the field. Release Resonant Skill button within a certain time to consume Blaze and perform Heavy Slash Daybreak. So it's like when she's in this form, it's like she's dealing heavy attack damage when she's in this form. It says, when attacked at a certain time after entering ready stance, reduce this instance of damage by 100% and stagnate nearby targets, then perform Heavy Slash Light Smash, consuming blazes and further reducing her vibration strength by 10%. The damage taken within the next 2 seconds is reduced by 30 seconds. So once again, you guys can see that she is very, very tanky when she's in this Inferno mode. Now we continue. It says, after casting Heavy Slash Light Smash, basic attack is replaced with Heavy Slash Nightfall, consuming up to 40 blazes on hit, with each blaze increasing the damage multiplier of Heavy Slash Nightfall. If Heavy Slash Nightfall stage 1 is interrupted, press basic attack again to cast Heavy Slash Nightfall stage 2. And then we continue even more. You know, they're pretty much just going over, you know, her attacks, and it's pretty much just her focusing on heavy attack. You know what I'm saying? So we move on over to Redundant Energy. So it says, Zani can hold up to 100 redundant energy, obtain redundant energy when normal attacks hit a target, obtain redundant energy when intro skill immediate execution, obtain redundant energy when casting Resonant Skill Standard Defense Protocol, and obtain redundant energy when casting Pinpoint Strike. And you cannot obtain redundant energy while in Inferno mode. For Blaze, it says Blaze is capped at 100 when not in Inferno mode, and Blaze is capped at 150 in Inferno mode. So it seems like when you're in her Inferno mode, which is like pretty sure like her ultimate, the stacks will increase, like the cap is going to increase to 150. And it says casting a targeted action or forcible riposte grants 10 blazes. Every stack of Helical Ember converted from Spectral Frazzle grants 5 blazes. Casting Resonance Liberation Rekindle grants 50 blazes. So you guys can see Spectral Frazzle once again grants 5 blazes, which is really good for her. Now when it comes to her intro skill, attack the target dealing spectral damage, you know, nothing too serious. You guys can see Phoebe right there. And if for her outro skill, it says attack the target dealing spectral damage equal to 150% of Zani's attack and removing all stacks of Helical Ember inflicted upon the target. Each stack increases damage dealt by 10%. This damage is considered Spectral Frazzle damage. The spectral damage dealt by other resonators in the team to the target marked by Helical Ember is amplified by 20% for 20 seconds. So she can also buff spectral damage, which is also pretty good. So that's pretty much her kill. Okay, we look at her inherent skill. It says casting intro skill immediate execution increases spectral damage bonus by 12% for 14 seconds. And if for Fear No Pain, it says when in ready stance, all damage taken is reduced by 40%. She has a damage reduction. She's probably going to be like the tankiest DPS unit in the game we have so far, because she has so much damage taken reduction, which is really good. Let's take a quick look at this guide. So it says hitting a target recovers Forte Gouge. Consume Forte Gouge to cast Enhanced Resonance skill. Zani restores Forte Gouge when other resonators inflict Spectral Frazzle. Alright. So once again, guys, if you're not using her with a character who's going to inflict Spectral Frazzle, like, you know, like her Forte Gouge is like, it's going to be really hard for you to like build it up. So for the people saying, well, you don't need Spectral Frazzle, you're not making any sense at all. Like, of course, you can try to run other teams that don't include Spectral Frazzle characters like Spectral Rover and Phoebe, but if you don't do that, like, you know, your character, like, she's just not going to work properly. She's not going to function properly. She can still function, but she won't function properly, right? But we continue, says Zani enters an enhanced state upon casting Resonance Liberation. In the enhanced state, consume Forte Gouge to cast enhanced basic attack. All right, and then we continue over here. They're just telling you how to use the character. And yeah, that's pretty much it. You guys can see when it comes to combat roles, main damage dealer, heavy attack damage, spectral damage amplification, and spectral frazzle, right? That is pretty much her combat role. So that was a lot of yapping, guys. I understand a lot of yapping here, but you guys can clearly understand how this character works. It's like, if you want to use her properly, like the best team for her would obviously be her, Phoebe, and Shorekeeper or Verena. That would be like the best team for her. But of course, you know, every gacha game, there's always a best in slot team. Who cares about that, right? Like, that's her best in slot team. But when it comes to her alternatives, they're so like far, like her alternatives are just so far away from like her best in slot team versus like her other alternative, which is her, Spectral Rover, and Shorekeeper. It's just so far away to the point where Spectral Rover, he's not really amplifying her damage, right? He's just giving her the Spectral Frazzle stacks so she can essentially use her Forte circuit. It's like I made a comparison with one commenter in my comment section. It's like you're plugging in a phone, like you're pretty much charging a phone, right? But the phone isn't on yet. Like the phone is dead, but you're taking a charger to charge the phone, but it's not on. That's how the Spectral Spectral Rover with Zani is. It's like he's just there to make her work, to make her like actually use her Forte circuit. But if you want her to actually deal more damage, and if you want her to act like, if you want to amplify her damage like 30 times more, you're gonna need Phoebe, right? So when it comes to her alternatives, it's not really that big, to be honest. You know, putting more Teffy with her, well, maybe that might do something, but you're gonna have to put in Spectral Rover with her as well. And the fact that Spectral Rover can heal, you know, you can probably use him as your healer, who knows? But the ideal team for her would be Zani, Phoebe, Shorekeeper, or Verena, or you can run Zani, Spectral Rover, and Shorekeeper, or Verena, or you can run Zani, more Teffy, and Spectral Rover, or Phoebe. that's pretty much the ideal team for her. She just cannot function without that spectral frazzle. So they also showed her weapon over here. Let's take a look at this. Yeah, let's take a look at her weapon. Can we actually look at it full screen here? I don't understand why they didn't include like a website where I can actually look at this. Like, this makes no sense. Maybe they put it on Twitter. Wait, give me 1 second, guys. If I can actually pull this picture up, open image in new tab. Are you kidding me, bro? Give me 1 second, guys. YouTube is so stupid sometimes. So we got her her weapon over here. So Blazing Justice, all right. So you guys get a 48.6% crit damage, and you get a 587 attack, which is really nice. And then for her passive, her weapon skill, it says increases attack by 10, 12%, 15%, 18%, 21%, and 24%. Casting basic attack grants the following effects: dealing damage ignores 8% to 60% of the target's defense, and amplifies spectral frazzle damage dealt by 50% to 100% for 6 seconds. Re-triggering the effect resets its duration. So I'm not gonna lie to you guys, this is actually pretty good. So if you are not running her with Phoebe, and if you want to amplify her spectral frazzle damage, you got to get that weapon, bro. I'm gonna be real with you guys. You got to get that weapon, because if you're going to run this character and you have nobody on your team that's going to amplify her spectral frazzle damage, her damage is probably not going to be the best. And I've already seen like a lot of you know, theory crafters, a lot of people saying that you know, if you don't have a character that's going to enhance her spectral frazzle damage, then you know, her damage might not be the best. Keyword might. Okay, her damage might not be the best. So the fact that her weapon does have additional spectral frazzle damage bonus is really, really good overall. So I'm definitely going to try to get her weapon, because since I don't have Phoebe, there's no way for me to actually amplify her spectral frazzle damage, and that's a huge part in her kit. So make sure, like, if you guys actually have the opportunity to get her weapon, for all my Zani havers, my Zani wanters, like for the people who want Zani, get that weapon, man, if you don't have Phoebe. Because if you don't have that weapon, and if you just put another alternative on her, like, there's really no way for you to actually enhance her spectral frazzle damage. And this is one of the main reasons why you know, I recommend them to implement more 4-star units, or you know, an echo set that can actually inflict spectral frazzle or actually amplify spectral frazzle damage, because you know, we definitely need more alternatives. You know, more alternatives. Rover is just one person. You know, for all the people saying, you know, just use Rover, just use Rover, and it's like, well, you know, I also have Havoc Rover as well. Like, what if I want to use Havoc Rover in TOA, and I want to use, you know, Zani team at the same time? You know what I'm saying? So Rover is just one person. They need to implement more 4-star units so that we can have multiple alternatives, and it can make team building a lot more flexible and a lot more fun. Because I feel like when it comes to, you know, this negative stats effect meta, where they're essentially building characters around negative stats effect, where their kit revolves around negative stats effect, it's like there's not enough characters to actually support that unit efficiently as of to right now, because there's only 2 characters that can actually inflict negative stats, which is Phoebe and Spectral Rover. Arrow Rover can't really do it. So we just need more alternatives. They need to release more 4-star units, so that whenever they release characters like Zani, we can pretty much have multiple alternatives, and we will be able to try out, you know, multiple team cons. It can be really, really fun. Like, imagine if they dropped like a 4-star spectral unit that can actually inflict spectral frazzle, but at the same time they have coordinated attack, right? Imagine to release a character like that. They can inflict spectral frazzle stacks up to like 8 times. They can inflict like 8 stacks while dealing coordinated attack damage or whatever off field. That could be very, very good, right? That can also benefit characters like Jinxie as well, you know? And you know, I've seen a lot of like disingenuous takes of people saying, well, I can still clear in-game content, it doesn't matter, like you can still clear it. And it's like, just because you can clear in-game content doesn't mean that the design itself is healthy. That's like me going to McDonald's and, you know, I get my food and I'm like, damn, dude, this food kind of sucks, it could be a lot better. And then somebody tells me and says, hey bro, as long as you can eat it, it's fine, you can still eat it, man. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's just really disingenuous to like make it seem as if as long as you can clear in-game content, it's fine. And that's like the same argument that, you know, HSR shields would use, or Genshin shields would use whenever you would criticize Spiral Abyss, or you would criticize the character's kit. They're like, well, you can still clear the game, so why does it matter? Like, what in the world? Like, what type of attitude is that? So, it is kind of weird to me how whenever you decide to, actually state facts and criticize a character and say that the character is indeed restrictive, you have all these people who come out and start coping and start, defending and saying, well, you can still clear in-game content, stop complaining, stop whining, and this and that, this and that. When you take a look at characters like Arrow Rover, you can't even use the character unless you summon for Chacona and Phoebe. Like, do you guys seriously want that? And that's why a lot of people were like, they actually wanted Chacona for free, because Arrow Rover is just literally unplayable. Like, you can't use the guy. If you want to like use him for Arrow Erosion, you literally cannot use him unless you have a limited 5-star character, which is Phoebe and Chacona, which is kind of crazy. And it honestly does suck, the fact that it feels like I'm like the only one, like the only CC who's actually talking about this. I feel like if there were more CCs who actually address this, negative stats effect issue, I feel like a lot more people would actually understand where I'm coming from. But since, I'm like the only CC that's pretty much talking about this, I'm not really aware if anybody else is talking about this. Let me know in the comment section down below if there's any other content creator who's actually talking about the negative stats effect and how restrictive it is. But I honestly feel like I'm the only one talking about this, so therefore, a lot of these Kuro bots, they don't really understand. They're just like, yeah, just use Rover and that's fine. And it's like, you look at Arrow Rover, what do you guys have to say about that? Can't even use him right now, So yeah, that's why we actually need more. Like, yeah, I understand criticizing Hoiverse, getting at them, it's cool and all. I do it too. But we also have to criticize Wuwa as well. Like, this game isn't some sort of, it's not a game that was made by God himself. This game also has issues as well. And that's why I feel like whenever you criticize Wuwa, whenever you say that a character is restrictive, all these Kuro bots, they get really sensitive. And they go on the defense mode and they literally act like the main people they can't stand, which is of course Hoyo Shields, when they start defending their game. It's like I'm gonna put a comment right here, but this one person was like, oh, you're a free-to-play player, like what do you expect? Increasing damage, that's for whales. It's like, what? Like, what did you even get that from? So if I want to increase my allies damage, I have to be a whale, I have to spend money? Like, are you kidding me? If somebody were to say something like this and do this in a Hoyo game, right? If I were to say that about Hoyo, people will be mauling. But since it's Kuro, it's like, oh, they're the exception to the rule. It's really, really weird to me. It's like a lot of hypocrisy and double standards where Kuro, they're allowed to do something, but if Hoyo does the same exact thing, they get ridiculed for it too. You know what I'm saying? So it is kind of weird to me. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about that. It's like, there's really no harm in them releasing more 4-star characters so we can have more alternatives. To sit here and say that they don't have to release more 4-star characters, or they don't have to release an alternative when it comes to negative stats effect, it's just, oh, gotta summon for that 5-star character to actually amplify the negative stats effect damage for that character, is just a really disingenuous take. And plus you have the weapon as well, where you actually have to summon for her weapon. If you want to use Phoebe, you have to summon for her weapon to actually amplify her spectral frazzle damage. So it's just not, it's very restrictive. And at the same time, I just don't like the fact that they are pretty much locking, like, if you want to increase her damage, they're locking that behind another limited 5-star character and her weapon. See what I'm saying? So let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below about this. But that's pretty much all I have to say. Hope you guys have a good one. And please have a civil discussion in the comment section down below. Don't sit here and say, oh, you're a free-to-play skill issue like this, this loser over here. If you're putting other people down because you can clear TOA, and you're telling free-to-play players that, oh, you guys are ruining the game, oh, the game is going to go EOS because you guys want alternatives, you have a serious superiority complex issue going on. You need to fix that shit. You need to fix it. If you're putting other people down and telling them that they are not allowed to want alternatives, they're not allowed to actually criticize the game so that their experience with the game can be a lot better. If you're that type of person, I'm sorry, man, but this is not the channel for you. And if you're going to come into my comment section and type that nonsense, you're going to get that ass banned. Plain and simple. All right? That's just a quick warning. If you're going to be like this guy right here and put other people down simply because they want alternatives, say goodbye. But I hope you guys have a good one, and I'll be catching you guys on the next one. Adios.